A lot of people ask me what I read, and that's a very good question. I've actually been listening to a lot of books on Audible. I find that way I have time and I'm constantly listening to something, whether I'm running, like I just got done in Regent's Park, which is my usual Sunday run, or whether I'm on the tube or working out in the gym. I always like listening to something. That used to be podcasts, but quite honestly, I'm enjoying Audible books better these days. They seem to have more poignant and specific messages, whereas a podcast sometimes can just kind of be fun, listening to a couple people chat, except London Real, of course, which is always very didactic. And one of the books that I'm listening to now is called The Magic of Thinking Big, and I have to thank my former guest, Mr. Alex Icon, whose episode was called How to Make Money with the dollar signs. Again, Alex, I apologize for the dollar signs. And Alex is a really fascinating guy. He's from Canada. He runs Lugsy Hair with his wife, Mimi Icon, both wonderful, wonderful people. And Alex was on my show. He's a guy that's just truly a genuinely nice guy and always really willing to help, you know, with me, with ideas and things like that. And he suggested this book, and it's kind of old school, but I really like it, and it had some really poignant thoughts. And some of the things I just picked up was two things. One, early on in the book, it says, never complain about your health. It said the only two people that care about your health are your doctor and your mortician, which I think is a joke. And it's a great point. It's like, why do you complain about your health to people that have nothing to do with your health? And usually it's just a way to complain, which puts you in this funny victim narrative, which has a great way of spoiling your whole day and puts you in a position not really to get things done and to look at things in the wrong way. So when you can avoid it, if you have some, problems or health issues, just don't tell anyone about it. I find that's usually a good call. I might get some comments on this, but when I had my hernia surgery about 5 months ago, I didn't tell a goddamn person. And I remember I interviewed Rick Doblin that next Monday, and he had this huge heavy backpack he was carrying with him, and he was like, will you help me with that? And I was like, oh. And during the show, I'm like really in pain, but I didn't even tell anybody. I didn't tell my staff. I mean, I told my girls, but that was it. Because what was the point? Why am I going to complain about it? It doesn't help it. It doesn't help anything. I don't want sympathy. I don't want to think about it. So that was one thing I learned. And the second thing I learned was, it said great leaders and great people that get things done, they spend time with themselves thinking and preparing. And this is different from the time you spend when you're watching Game of Thrones or you're on Twitter or all these things we do to occupy our busy monkey minds. The true greats out there spend time quietly alone. And so it just reminded me, and right now I'm walking around the park and I'm not listening to anything, and I'm just thinking or letting my subconscious think for itself. And that's one thing I've learned a lot in the last few years is I'm very quantitative and engineer, as Mr. Pena would say, and I tend to want to map everything out and make a logical decision. It's also a very male characteristic, I believe. And a lot of people with intuition, maybe more females, will just feel what's right. And so what I do is I get all the info and then I just sleep on it or think about it or sit on it for a while, and I come to the right conclusion. And so having that downtime is important, and it's hard not to get on Twitter or constantly feed your brain with info, because your brain doesn't like being alone, because then you have to be with yourself and deal with yourself and your own potential inadequacies, which I don't think are there anyways. But try to spend some time quietly on your own, preparing, thinking, that kind of thing. I think that's really a symptom of successful people, or a quality or trait of successful people. So thanks to The Magic of Thinking Big. I will be doing these every week. I think I'm going to call this What I Read. And thanks to Alex Icon, a bunch of other great people. Up on the list is the book Hooked. And I'm trying to think what else is on there right now. I think Creativity Inc. And something about abundance as well. So there you go. See you on the other side, and always check out beautiful Regent's Park in London, England. It's about the journey. Thank you very much, and peace.